Okay, Algebra 2 fans, our topic today is polynomial arithmetic, and basically our goals, we're going to add, subtract, and multiply polynomials. So before we start, let me tell you your joke of the day. Why did the bicycle fall over? And the answer is, because it was too tired. Get it? Too tired? Alright, so let's start with adding and subtracting polynomials. So directions: perform the following operations on the polynomials. The key thing here is when you have sets of parentheses, you want to look and see if there's some symbol beneath or between them. Excuse me. So if there's a plus sign, what we're going to do is we're going to add these two sets of parentheses. Now what I'm going to do is rewrite this without the parentheses. We don't need them. And you don't have to do this, but for a lot of people it's nice to not have to look at the parentheses. And what we're going to do is combine like terms. So like terms would be something like 3x squared plus 5x squared. Those are like terms, so that's 8x squared. Those are terms that have the same variables and the same exponents. So the x squareds, those are like terms. The 2x, which is positive, and the 7x, which is negative. Always look at the symbol that's in front of them. So 2x minus 7x is minus 5x. And then we have minus 5 and minus 2. Those are constants, but those are also like terms. Minus 5 minus 2 is minus 7. And at this point, that's all you can do with that. That's as far as you can take it. You cannot combine anything else. So that is a simplified answer right there. Now what happens if you have a subtraction symbol? So basically we have the same two terms. These are trinomials. Same two expressions. Now let's say we're going to subtract. What I'm going to do is I'm going to rewrite this again. So 3x squared plus 2x minus 5. Think of this as a negative 1 or minus 1. So what's happening here is this minus 1 is distributing every term on the inside of the parentheses. So that's like minus 1 times 5x squared. So it's minus 5x squared. Minus 1 times negative 7x, that's a negative times a negative, which is positive 7x. Negative 1 times negative 2 is positive 2. In other words, what you do is you change all the signs on the inside. Positives become negatives, negatives become positives. Now that you've done your multiplication, now you add your like terms. So 3x squared minus 5x squared, which is negative 2x squared. Then we have positive 2x plus 7x. So that's 9x positive. And then we have negative 5 plus 2, which is minus 3. And that's as far as we can take it. That is simplified right there. All right, let's say we have something like number 3. So we've got 2 times 5x minus y, and then plus 7 times 2x plus 3y. Before you can add and subtract like terms, you have to do multiplication first. Think of PEMDAS, parentheses, exponents, multiply, divide, add, subtract. We're going to do multiplication before we add and subtract. So this 2 is going to multiply 5x, so we got 10x. This 2 is going to multiply, that's like a negative 1y. So that's minus 2y. You'll notice a lot of times that I'll actually circle if it's a negative term, just to remind myself that that is a negative number. Now over here, this is plus 7, and that's going to distribute to both of these. So that's 14x plus 21y. And now what we'll do is we'll combine like terms. So we have 10x plus 14x, that's 24x. And then we have negative 2y plus 21y. Negative 2 plus 21 is positive 19, and it's just y. When you add and subtract like terms, you don't change the exponents. All you change is the numbers in front, the coefficients. Number 4, same thing. We're going to distribute first. So this 4x is going to multiply everything on the inside. Now 4x times 3x squared, that's 12. And when you multiply variables, you add the exponents. So this would be 12, that's x to the third. X to the 1 times x to the 2 is x to the 3. plus 4 times 2 is 8. X times x is x squared. 4x times negative 5 is going to be minus 20x. And then over here, this is a minus 2x. Think of that as a negative. So we're going to do negative 2x times 5x squared. That's minus 10x to the third. When you multiply the variables, you add the exponents. Negative 2x times negative 7x is positive 14x. Negative 2x times negative 2 is positive 4x. Okay, now you add or subtract your like terms. 12x to the third minus 10x to the third. That's 2x to the third. Positive 8x squared. Well, actually there is nothing here with the x squared. Oh, nope, made a mistake. Negative 2x times negative 7x is positive 14x squared. Okay, so positive 8x squared plus 14x squared is plus 22x to the second. And then we have minus 20x plus 4x. That's a plus sign right there. And negative 20 plus 4 is minus 16x. And that's as far as we can take it. That's a good answer. Alright, so what happens when we get into multiplying polynomials? So directions perform the following operations. So same directions here. This time we have x plus 6 times x plus 7. And in this case, this is a binomial, 2 terms, times another binomial, 2 terms. Now you've probably learned at least one of these two methods. The way that I like to think about this though, FOIL is a nice way to remember it, but basically what you're doing is you're distributing twice. Okay, or what you're doing is double distributing. This is really the process. You're taking both of the terms in the first binomial and you're multiplying them by both of the terms in the second binomial. The x is multiplying x plus 7. So I'm doing x times x plus 7, and then I'm doing positive 6 times the same set of parentheses, x plus 7. So that's going to be, I distribute x squared plus 7x, and then this is plus 6x plus 42. And I can add the two middle terms. They're both x's. So x squared plus 13x plus 42. And that's my answer. That's as far as I can take it. Now, if you've learned FOIL, then what you're doing is basically the same thing. You multiply the first terms. That's x times x. You multiply the outside terms, which is x times 7. You multiply the inside terms, that's the I, that's 6x. And you multiply the last terms, which is 6 and 7. And notice it gives you the same 4 terms here. You combine the middle term, and what you get is same thing. If you want to do it visually, you can do it as a box, kind of like a times table. So what I do is I set up a box. It's a 2 by 2 box, and the reason I do that is because I have a binomial, which is 2 terms, times a binomial, which is 2 terms. X plus 6, I'm going to write that going down. X plus 7, I'm going to write that going across. And to fill in my box, what I do is I multiply. So to get the first square, I'm going to multiply x times x, which is x squared. To get the square to the right of that, I'm going to multiply the row, which is x, times the column, which is 7. That's positive 7x. And then down here, I'm going to multiply 6 times x, which is 6x. And then I'm going to multiply 6 times 7 to get the last square, which is 42. Now this is all multiplication. Now you have to add the like terms, so you're looking in your square, and I see these two terms, 6 and 7x. Those are both like terms, so I add those up. What we get is x squared plus 13x plus 42. Any of these methods work. It just depends on what you prefer to use, as long as you get the answer right. For me, what I'm going to be doing is just double distributing. Okay, and after you do this a few times, you can start to skip some steps. And what I mean by that, so let's take number 6 here for example. I'm going to do 2x times the first this set of parentheses right here. So I'm going to do 2x times 3x plus 4. And then I'm going to take minus 1 times 3x plus 4. Now I'm going to distribute that, so I get 6x squared plus 8x minus 3x.